Be me, Patricia, HR director at mid-sized manufacturing company, 35 years old, been climbing corporate ladder for decade. Finally reached six-figure salary territory last year, making $115,000. Company's been around 30 years, makes specialized industrial equipment. We employ about 200 people, mix of engineers, technicians, assembly workers, admin staff. Profitable every year for past 15 years. But there's a problem. Workplace is 70% male. This is clearly systemic oppression. Wake up Monday morning with renewed sense of purpose. Today's the day I start making real change. Walk into office, past all the male engineers chatting about weekend projects. Overhear Kevin talking about some technical modification he made to production line. Typical mansplaining bullshit. These guys think they're so smart just because they have experience. Experience is just code for old boys club anyway. Sit down at desk, pull up employee demographics spreadsheet. Even worse than I thought. Engineering department, 85% male. Production floor, 78% male. Management, 60% male. And that's only because I pushed for more female hires in admin. This ends today. Call meeting with CEO Liam. He's actually pretty progressive for an older white guy. Always supported my diversity initiatives before. Walk into his office with printed charts and statistics. Liam, we need to talk about our gender problem. He looks confused. What gender problem? Our workplace harassment reports are practically zero. We just got employee satisfaction scores back, and they're the highest they've been in years. Classic deflection. That's exactly the issue. Women are being systematically excluded from technical roles. Spread out my charts on his desk. Look at these numbers. In 2023, women make up 50% of the workforce, but only 23% of our company. Patricia, we hire based on qualifications. Most of our positions require very specific technical knowledge and certifications. The applicant pool skews male because of institutional barriers that prevent women from entering these fields in the first place. He's doing that thing where he tries to sound reasonable. Hate when men do that. I want authorization to restructure our hiring practices. What kind of restructuring? Prioritize gender equity in all departments. Set targets for female representation. Liam shifts in his chair. We can certainly focus on outreach to encourage more female applicants, but I can't authorize quotas that might compromise operational effectiveness. There it is, the moment they always reveal their true colors. So you're saying women can't do these jobs? That's not what I said at all. I'm saying we need qualified candidates, regardless of gender. Qualifications are often subjective anyway. What matters is bringing fresh perspectives and dismantling male-dominated hierarchies. Meeting ends with Liam agreeing to explore options. Typical corporate speak for doing nothing. But I'm not giving up. Spend rest of week researching legal precedents. Turns out I have more authority in hiring and firing decisions than I realized, especially for performance management and cultural fit issues. Following Monday, start documenting everything. Notice how male employees dominate meetings. Kevin interrupts Sarah when she's trying to explain new safety protocol. Write it down. Pattern of male employees talking over female colleagues. During lunch, overhear group of technicians joking around. They're laughing about something, didn't catch what. Write it down. Exclusionary behavior, creating hostile environment for women. This is easier than I thought. Over next few weeks, build cases against key male employees. Start with the worst offenders. Kevin gets written up for microaggressions after he corrected Maria about proper calibration procedure. She's new, he was just helping. But intent doesn't matter. Impact is what counts. Brian from Quality Control gets dinged for masculine-coded communication. His emails are too direct and could make female employees feel intimidated. Liam calls me into his office after a month of documentation. Patricia, I'm getting complaints about these write-ups. Kevin's been here 8 years, never had a single HR issue. That's exactly the problem. The system has protected men like him while women's voices were silenced. Kevin caught a major design flaw last month that would have cost us $200,000. Maria thanked him personally for the training. Irrelevant. We're talking about workplace culture, not technical minutiae. Liam looks tired. These men have families, Patricia. They're good employees. So do the women who aren't getting equal opportunities. He doesn't get it. None of them do. They're too invested in maintaining the status quo. But I've been patient long enough. Time for decisive action. Spend weekend researching wrongful termination laws. Turns out if I can document pattern of cultural incompatibility and failure to adapt to evolving workplace standards, I have significant latitude, especially if I can show their presence is inhibiting other employees' growth and advancement. Perfect. Monday morning, start with Kevin. Call him into conference room. Kevin, we need to discuss your ongoing performance issues. He looks genuinely confused. Performance issues? My metrics are all green. We just finished the Henderson project ahead of schedule. This isn't about technical performance. It's about cultural competency and collaborative leadership. Pull out folder of documentation. Multiple instances of interrupting female colleagues, correcting women in condescending ways, excluding women from informal knowledge sharing. Patricia, I've been training Maria because she asked me to. She's brilliant, just needs to learn our specific systems. Your need to position yourself as the expert over a capable woman speaks to deeper issues. He's getting frustrated now. Typical. Can't handle having his behavior questioned. I don't understand what you want from me. I want you to recognize how your presence reinforces patriarchal dynamics that prevent this company from reaching its full potential. Can I get specific examples? Concrete things I can work on? Always trying to turn everything into a technical problem they can solve, missing the bigger picture entirely. Kevin, after extensive review, we've decided to terminate your employment effective immediately. His face goes white. What? Why? Is this about the Henderson project? Because that criticism from the client was actually. This isn't about any specific project. This is about fundamental compatibility with our evolving workplace culture. Security escorts him out, feel rush of satisfaction, finally making real change. Rest of week, schedule similar meetings with Brian, David, Liam's buddy Tom from engineering. Same pattern every time. They try to make it about technical performance. Completely miss the point about systemic change. By Friday, eliminated 4 of the worst offenders. Replacement hiring goes smoothly. Post openings on job boards, emphasizing inclusive environment and growth opportunities for underrepresented candidates. Get dozens of applications. Focus on women who show potential and enthusiasm over rigid technical requirements. Hire Jennifer for Kevin's engineering position. She has architecture background, definitely smart enough to learn industrial design. Hire Rebecca for Brian's quality control role. Her background is in retail management, but she's very detail-oriented. Hire Lisa for David's production oversight position. Comes from healthcare administration, has strong leadership skills. Liam seems concerned about the transition. These are complex roles, Patricia. Shouldn't we have more overlap time for knowledge transfer? That's exactly the kind of thinking that perpetuates gatekeeping. These women are capable of learning what they need to know. Kevin offered to help train his replacement before he left. Having the old guard train new employees just recreates the same biased systems. Besides, most of their expertise is probably outdated anyway. Fresh perspectives will identify inefficiencies they've been blind to. First month goes pretty well. Few hiccups as new employees get up to speed. Jennifer struggles with some of the engineering software, but she's taking online courses. Rebecca catches quality issues that Brian probably would have missed because she's more thorough. Lisa brings new organizational systems from healthcare that could really improve efficiency. Prove that diverse hiring works when you give people proper support. Liam keeps asking about production metrics. We're running behind on the Morrison contract. Growing pains. Any major transition involves temporary adjustment period. Kevin completed similar projects in half the time. Kevin had the advantage of institutional knowledge and existing relationships. Once Jennifer gets familiar with our systems, she'll bring innovations Kevin never could have imagined. Besides, speed isn't everything. Quality matters more than rushing to meet arbitrary deadlines. Month 2. Things get more challenging. Morrison client complains about design specifications. Apparently, some technical requirement wasn't met. Jennifer explains the changes she made were improvements over original specifications. Client doesn't appreciate innovation. Typical conservative mindset in manufacturing industry. They resist change even when it's clearly better. Rebecca identifies several quality issues, but production line keeps having problems. Turns out she flagged things that Brian never would have caught. Unfortunately, some were false positives. Stopping production for non-issues costs time and money, but better safe than sorry. Brian probably let actual problems slip through because he was overconfident. Lisa implements new scheduling system that should optimize workflow. Some of the floor workers complain it's confusing. They're just resistant to change. Old system was probably designed around male workers' preferences anyway. New system is more intuitive once people adapt. Liam schedules weekly check-ins that feel increasingly hostile. Patricia, we're 30% behind quota this quarter. Short-term metrics don't reflect long-term improvements in workplace culture and innovation. The Morrison client is threatening to cancel their contract. Then they're not aligned with our values. We'll find clients who appreciate forward-thinking approaches. Morrison represents 15% of our annual revenue. Revenue isn't everything. Employee satisfaction and inclusive culture create sustainable competitive advantages. Month 3 brings more resistance. Some of the remaining male employees start openly questioning new procedures. Tom from engineering has audacity to suggest we bring Kevin back as consultant. Kevin documented all his processes before he left. Jennifer could benefit from reviewing his notes. That would undermine Jennifer's authority and perpetuate dependency on patriarchal knowledge systems. Kevin caught design flaws that cost us hundreds of thousands in previous projects. Fear-mongering. Jennifer's fresh perspective prevents us from falling into old patterns. Tom looks frustrated. Good. Means the message is getting through. Decide it's time to accelerate changes. Call Tom into meeting. Tom, your resistance to new team dynamics is creating toxic environment. I'm trying to help Jennifer succeed. Some of these systems are genuinely complex. Your need to position yourself as indispensable expert is exactly the problem. Terminate Tom. Also, eliminate Mike from production floor, who's been joking about new scheduling system. Hire Amanda for Tom's role. She has environmental engineering background. Hire Stephanie for Mike's position. She's very enthusiastic about learning. Month 4. Problems escalate. Major client cancels contract after design review. Apparently, some structural calculations were incorrect. Jennifer insists her approach was more elegant than traditional methods. Client's engineering team is probably biased against innovative solutions. Lose $300,000 contract, but dodged bullet working with backwards thinking company. Rebecca's quality control catches everything now. Maybe too much. Production rate down 40% because she stops line for every minor variation. Workers complain, but they need to understand that quality can't be compromised. Brian's old approach of acceptable tolerances was probably covering up systemic problems. Lisa's scheduling optimization still having issues. Workers say it doesn't account for machine warm-up times and material flow logistics. They're probably exaggerating difficulties. Old system was designed around convenience for male-dominated workforce anyway. Liam calls emergency meeting, brings in CFO Sandra. At least there's another woman in leadership who might understand. Patricia, we need to address these operational issues immediately. What specific issues? Sandra pulls out financial reports. Revenue down 35% this quarter. 3 major client complaints. Production efficiency at historic lows. Transition periods always involve temporary setbacks. This isn't temporary anymore. We're hemorrhaging money. Short-term financial metrics don't reflect long-term cultural improvements. Liam interrupts. Patricia, we need to consider bringing back some of the experienced employees. Absolutely not. That would completely undermine everything we've accomplished. Sandra looks serious. What exactly have we accomplished? Can't believe another woman is questioning progress. We've eliminated systemic discrimination, created inclusive environment, brought fresh perspectives to entrenched problems. But our output is down, quality complaints are up, and we're losing clients. Those clients clearly weren't aligned with our values anyway. Liam shakes his head. Patricia, these are our core clients. We've worked with Morrison for 12 years. Maybe it's time to find clients who appreciate innovation over tradition. Meeting ends with them demanding immediate improvement plan. Typical corporate panic. They don't understand that meaningful change takes time. Spend weekend developing comprehensive strategy. Focus on training programs for new hires. Emphasize communication workshops to help remaining staff adjust. Outline diversity metrics that demonstrate progress. Month 5 brings crisis point. Major equipment failure on production floor. Apparently, some routine maintenance was missed. Stephanie didn't know about weekly calibration procedures that Mike used to handle. She's been trying to learn, but some of the documentation is unclear. Equipment manufacturer says repair will cost $80,000 and take 6 weeks. Meanwhile, production completely halted. Jennifer struggles with redesign project. Client specifications require compliance with industry standards she's not familiar with. She's been researching, but learning curve is steeper than expected. Amanda tries to help, but environmental engineering is different from industrial applications. They work well together, though, much more collaborative than old boys club atmosphere. Rebecca's quality control becomes major bottleneck. She's identified 17 different issues this week. Most turn out to be normal variations that were always acceptable, but she's concerned about liability if we miss real problems. Production team gets frustrated waiting for clearance on every batch. Better safe than sorry, though. Clients start asking specifically for original team members. Can Kevin review these specifications? Is Brian available to discuss quality protocols? We need Tom's input on structural analysis. Have to explain that those employees are no longer with company. Clients seem concerned about continuity. Some hint at taking business elsewhere. Their loss. Liam schedules daily meetings now. Constant pressure to fix problems. Patricia, we need immediate solutions. Change is difficult. Growing pains are normal. We're facing potential bankruptcy. Dramatic exaggeration. Every company faces quarterly fluctuations. This isn't fluctuation. This is systemic collapse. Or systemic transformation. Depends on perspective. Sandra provides more financial data. Revenue down 60%. Expenses up 40% due to equipment repairs and overtime costs. Cash flow critically low. Vendor payments delayed. She recommends immediate cost-cutting measures, starting with reconsidering recent personnel changes. Typical retreat to old ways when things get challenging. The personnel changes are exactly what will save us long term. Month 6. Everything accelerates. Remaining major client cancels contract. Cites quality concerns and delivery delays. Contract worth $2.2 million annually. Jennifer and Amanda work frantically to address technical issues, but client already committed to different vendor, probably went with male-dominated firm. Their loss of progressive partnership opportunity. Equipment problems multiply. Second major machine breaks down. Turns out routine maintenance and schedule was more complex than Stephanie realized. Mike had informal knowledge about early warning signs. Documentation existed, but was incomplete. Technicians who knew oral tradition have all been terminated. Equipment manufacturer suggests hiring experienced industrial maintenance specialist. We hire Carmen, who has mechanical aptitude but needs time to learn our specific systems. Rebecca's quality control identifies critical flaw in recent shipment. Entire batch needs to recalled and replaced. Costs $150,000 and damages relationship with client. Turns out flaw was caused by calibration error that Brian's experience would have caught. Rebecca followed documented procedures exactly, but apparently some undocumented tribal knowledge was needed. Typical example of how systems exclude women. Production nearly stops completely. Too many bottlenecks and knowledge gaps. Remaining workers request overtime to try meeting deadlines, but efficiency so low that overtime doesn't help much. Just increases costs without proportional output. Sandra calculates we're spending $1.50 for every $1 of revenue generated. Liam calls final emergency meeting. Entire executive team present, even board members joining remotely. Patricia, we need immediate action plan. I've been implementing an action plan for 6 months. Revenue is down 75%. We have maybe 6 weeks of operating capital left. Market conditions are challenging for everyone. Our competitors are thriving. This is specific to our operational changes. Correlation doesn't prove causation. Board member speaks up. Patricia, we need to consider all options, including reversing recent personnel decisions. That would be illegal discrimination and complete abandonment of our values. Sandra presents final financial report. Company losing $200,000 per month. Vendors threatening to cut off credit. Payroll will be difficult to meet next month. Bankruptcy likely within 60 days. Recommends immediate restructuring, including personnel changes. We're past the point of ideological considerations. This is about survival. Companies that compromise their values don't deserve to survive. Shocked silence around table. Apparently, they don't understand that principles matter more than profit. Meeting ends with board voting to explore all options. Code for capitulating to old systems. Spend evening updating resume. Clearly, this company isn't ready for the leadership it needs. Next Monday, arrive to find Liam in my office. Patricia, we need to discuss your future with the company. If you're about to suggest reversing the cultural progress we've made, I won't be part of it. The board has decided to make immediate operational changes. Meaning? We're bringing back Kevin, Brian, Tom, and several other former employees as emergency consultants. That's completely undermining everything we've accomplished. Patricia, we're facing bankruptcy. We need their institutional knowledge. Their so-called knowledge is just perpetuation of exclusionary systems. Liam looks exhausted. We're also restructuring the HR department. Suddenly understand what's happening. You're firing me. We're eliminating your position, effective immediately. Security escorts me out just like they did with Kevin. Irony not lost on me. Spend drive home processing betrayal. Gave them innovative leadership, and they chose comfortable mediocrity. Their loss, severance package smaller than expected. Lawyer explains it's because of performance-based termination. Completely unfair, but legal battle would be expensive. Use savings to fight wrongful termination. Case gets complicated because companies' financial records support their narrative. Legal fees pile up quickly. $50,000 gone in first 3 months. Meanwhile, Company apparently stabilizes after bringing back original employees. Kevin and team work as consultants while training new permanent hires. Production resumes normal levels within 2 months. Clients return gradually. Company survives, but with major financial damage. My reforms clearly laid groundwork for their eventual success. They just lacked vision to see long-term benefits. Job search proves more difficult than expected. HR positions competitive. Other companies seem hesitant when they research my background. Apparently, word spreads quickly in manufacturing industry. Some interviewers ask pointed questions about previous experience with organizational change. They don't understand innovative approaches to workforce development. 6 months unemployment drains remaining savings. $40,000 left after legal fees. Mortgage payments becoming difficult. Consider selling house, but market timing is poor. Unemployment benefits help, but don't cover full expenses. Have to dip into retirement accounts with penalties. Finally, get job offer at smaller company. Significant pay cut down to $65,000, but need income immediately. Accept position, but new company very traditional. Male-dominated leadership. Feels like step backward after progressive environment I created. But temporary necessity. Lawsuit against former company proceeds slowly. Kevin, Brian, Tom, and others file countersuits for wrongful termination. Legal situation becomes complex and expensive. Their case is stronger because they can document clear performance metrics. My case relies on discrimination and retaliation claims. Lawyer advises settlement might be best option, but settlement amount barely covers legal fees. Year later, forced to sell house. Mortgage payments unsustainable on reduced salary. Real estate market declined, so sale price lower than expected. After paying off mortgage and realtor fees, left with $30,000. Rent small apartment and try to rebuild. Retirement accounts completely depleted from early withdrawals. Former company recovers fully within 18 months. Read industry articles about their turnaround strategy. Credit their success to returning to core competencies and leveraging institutional knowledge. No mention of innovative approaches or cultural improvements. Typical erasure of women's contributions. New job proves frustrating. Colleagues resistant to progressive ideas. Suggestions for inclusive hiring practices met with skepticism. Feels like being trapped in 1950s mentality, but need. Stable income to recover financially. Bide time while looking for better opportunities. 3 years later, still struggling to rebuild. Salary never returned to six-figure level. Credit damaged from period of financial stress. Professional reputation in manufacturing industry permanently affected. Other HR directors seem to know my story. Networking events awkward when people make connections. Sometimes wonder if different approach might have yielded better results, maybe more gradual transition. But compromise never achieves real change. System was fundamentally broken and required dramatic intervention. Unfortunate that leadership lacked courage to see it through. Their retreat to comfortable discrimination proves my point. Occasionally see updates about former colleagues. Kevin promoted to senior engineering director. Brian started consulting firms specializing in quality systems. Tom leads technical training programs. They succeeded because system rewards traditional approaches. Doesn't mean those approaches are optimal. Just means change is difficult in conservative industries. Current company shows slight progress on diversity. Hired 2 women for technical roles last year. Small steps, but movement in right direction. Continue advocating for inclusive practices within constraints of traditional environment. Plant seeds for future leaders who might have more courage. Change happens slowly, but persistence matters. Financial recovery ongoing. Emergency fund slowly rebuilding. But lost house, retirement savings, and career momentum. Legal settlements never materialized into meaningful compensation. Expensive lesson about resistance to progressive change. But principles remain unchanged. Someday, industry will recognize value of inclusive leadership. Just wish it hadn't cost everything to stand up for what's right.